Welcome to the FCICA Product Webinar Series. We are pleased to have Joel Carty and Matt Caldwell of Tred-MOR with us today to talk about their product line. Matt, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lizzie. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good morning, depending on where you're at in the country. Thanks so much for attending. We're excited about some changes that we've initiated, and we wanted to share that with you, as well as just all of the applicable parts of our product and some of our new products that we're introducing to the marketplace. So I wanted to, first of all, Joel Carty is our technical product manager, and Joel is dealing with a lot of the technicalities that we all face in today's flooring industry, related to moisture, related to sound, related to installation techniques that seem to be evolving quickly. And so I'm excited to have Joel go through this stuff with you, but what I wanted to just briefly cover is sort of the evolution that our company is going through, has gone through over the past 18 months and probably will continue to go through for the foreseeable future. Sponge cushion has turned into Tred-MOR floor cushion and acoustic systems, and I'm going to express how that all came about. We have always been a double glue product used under broadloom carpet. We began having a tremendous amount of inquiries around a quality product for LVT underlayment, for carpet tile underlayment. And so we're doing our best and have done our best to really create a series of products now that are all sponge rubber products, high quality products, and for virtually any flooring category that that's out there. If you can shift the slide. Going to really the origin of sponge cushion, we're in our 58th year. It was established, Sponge Cushion Inc. was established in 1960, and it began manufacturing sponge rubber products in Morris, Illinois, which, by the way, we are still in that original location. It's been added on to many, many times, and we're under about 350,000 feet and still produce that product as well as a lot of other products. In 1985, Sponge Cushion recognized that the flooring industry had some demands in that broadloom carpet that was being installed would tend to ripple. Wherever there was wheel traffic, heavy foot traffic, any kind of excessive movement on the top of the carpet. So Sponge Cushion developed the method of double gluing both, obviously, the cushion to the substrate and then the carpet to the cushion. And obviously, as I think you probably all know, since 1985, this has become the absolute industry standard, and we're proud of that. In 2006, most of you know of Leggett & Platt, just a superb company, acquired Sponge Cushion, and has really helped create even a greater backbone to our business process. And, we're very pleased to be under that moniker, under Leggett & Platt. It's only been a very positive influence and created a lot of direction for Sponge Cushion. This year, we've hit 2.25 billion, that's billion with a B, square feet of Tred-MOR sold throughout the world. And what's interesting about the mix of locations our product has been installed in is the fact that so many of them are iconic locations. And I think you'll see a few of these pictures. Folks, our product, Tred-MOR, has been installed in every single one of these locations, within the White House and literally within the Oval Office, in the state Senate chambers, in the original Twin Towers, as well as the new One World Trade Center. The main Mormon temple in Salt Lake City, throughout all kinds of properties in Disneyland and Disney World. Again, all kinds of Disney properties. You know, at Churchill Downs, these all represent high-end, high-quality applications. But we could go to Asia, we could go to Europe, we could go to anywhere in the world, and Tred-MOR is installed in a phenomenal number of projects. So I wanted to share just sort of that background with you, and you know, if you could slide, there you go. Next slide. That's weird. Yeah. Lizzie, can you pass to the next slide? There we go. So, you know, ultimately, what has transpired here is the sponge cushion, you know, up through last year, really has been known for our double stick application, and really for a lot of high-end residential and hospitality applications. But Joel found this fine picture here that the caterpillar is telling the butterfly, "You've changed," over a cup of coffee apparently. But we have changed, and we're really trying to focus and emphasize our development in cushioning a variety of floor products, but also creating phenomenal acoustic systems, as SBR rubber will prove to be. So we are now not only double stick and hospitality and high-end residential underlayments, but we're commercial and residential carpet tile underlayment. We have premium rug, area rug underlayments. We've got acoustical cushion for luxury vinyl tile and plank, laminate, hardwood. Of course, I just mentioned carpet tile. And we're going into newly introduced installation methods, which includes a single stick for our product. And Joel is going to, I think, build on that story. So I'd like to turn it over to Joel. And again, I thank you all for being here.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and thanks for attending. What I'm going to walk through today is basically Tred-MOR Installation, the different product categories we have. I think maybe part 2 down the road, we're going to get into more acoustics and why dense cushions will attribute to high acoustic value and low R values. But today, I'm going to go through installation because it's the biggest frequently asked questions we have. Tred-MOR Legacy, that's our broadloom cushion. That's the one that's been around, like Matt said, since the 60s, the double stick since the mid-80s. The biggest horse in our stable, and you know, we still sell, we do a lot of it. We get into the Tred-MOR Modular PVI. That's going to be for carpet tile. And then our dBarrier, we developed for LVT, you know, 2, 3, 4 mil glue down, locking systems, but have also found that it has a high acoustic value for laminate, hardwood, engineered floating, or solid nail down, WPCs. It pretty much goes under a lot of different hard surface flooring. Our products are, you know, pretty much made with the same ingredients. We just change weight, density, and thicknesses to receive any type of flooring that can go on top of it. And all of our products are rated extra heavy commercial. Apologize, these slides are a little slow. Tred-MOR Legacy Installation, again, this is for broadloom. You see the little picture. Most of these slides, I've cut and pasted stuff from our sample vehicles, our architect folders. So if you get our samples in architect folders, you're going to recognize these pictures. Double stick installation, it's recommended 4. And if you get into a room, you can stretch it in, and you don't have heavy rolling wheel traffic, you can stretch our product in. Anywhere where there's continuous heavy rolling wheel traffic, foot traffic, casinos, banks, you want to double stick it. Any large areas, again, where you can't stretch it in, you're going to double glue it. Custom borders, if there's any mechanics on the call, doing a custom border or an inset and trying to stretch it in is pretty much impossible without the pattern going off. And our cushion is ADA compliant. Senior living, wheelchairs, walkers, you've got to have a cushion that's dense and firm and it won't cause tripping hazard. I believe the overall height carpet cushion is 1/2 inch. It has to be fastened. So we do a lot with the senior living, and again, be ADA compliant. Getting into the installation, adhesive to the substrate. You're going to find through this presentation that all of our products are installed identically. They're all installed with pressure sensitive. 16th by 32nd by 32nd inch notch trowel. I have a rough square footage per pail. That could change depending on the substrate and how porous it is. You can use a flat edge of a trowel. You can use a short nap roller. The spray adhesives today are great. I do like a trowel. That's a calibrated tool. I know that substrate is going to be fully spread. Flat edge of a trowel will work, but if you get a little undulated surface, sometimes a little bit more adhesive on that substrate will allow that cushion to grab. The spray adhesives today are outstanding, but you got to make sure that it's controlled. You can't use it to spot weld. It has to cover the substrate. And for a releasable installation, the pressure sensitive has to cure. It has to dry. Go into that wet, it's going to be like a multi-purpose. You're never going to get it out, or it's going to be very difficult to get it out. And we're not going to not warrant it, whether you use pressure sensitive multi-purpose. Just make a note to the next person taking it out that it's going to be very difficult. You want it to film, flash, dry for that releasable installation. We also make a product with quick lift. It's just a synthetic fiber, looks almost like a felt. Made to be put in with multi-purpose. It's a permanent installation until you go to release it. The felt or the synthetic fiber will pull away from itself. So the installation can be taken out quickly, and the installer can use the same bucket, multi-purpose to install the cushion, multi-purpose to install the carpet. It's a time is of the essence cushion and installation.
And just to add to that, for those of us, the realists out there know our installation partners are out there. They're obviously, multi-purpose is less expensive. A multi-purpose is a product that they will probably have and ultimately might want to use. If ultimately you wanted to use multi-purpose on a project, we would just suggest go to the quick lift backing, and this way you're not going to have problems because that back will allow it to lift off even with it's set into a multi-purpose adhesive.
The 32nd inch trowel is real important too, because if you put it quick lift in multi-purpose with a heavier trowel, you're going to reach through that synthetic fiber and it's going to grab that rubber, and guess what? It's not going to be a quick lift anymore. That's going to be another nightmare. But we do a fair amount of that for that reason. Again, it's time of the essence. Casinos and banks, downtime costs them money. Moving on to the next slide. Seems to be very slow today. There it goes. I have a lot of questions regarding the installation of which side is up. And I try to be humorous without being, but
cantankerous.
Yeah, I kind of tell people we really don't like making 155-pound rolls to have you carry them in and then have them flip. So, bottom line, our machines roll the product where you cut the bag open, you unroll it, and it's installed. It's the correct side's facing the substrate. Polytech backing in our Tred-MOR Legacy, it's black. If you look at the rolls, the outside's black. When you unroll it, the black will go to the floor, and the gray side will be facing up. That gray side is again synthetic fiber that's put into the top of the cushion, and the goal of that is to make the broadloom slide easier across it when you're installing it. It won't grab that rubber and pull it up. It'll glide across the top of it, make it much more easy to install. Cushion seams, pretty standard in industry. You want to run any type of flooring or carpet, broadloom carpet, you want to run it perpendicular to the carpet seams. Of course, if it's not possible, which yes, there's a case out there isn't possible, you want to just offset it. You'll make sure it's offset. You put that seam on a seam, you're going to have some peaking issues. Seams should be butted tight. real important. Our tolerances are real tight on the Tred-MOR Legacy. If we're double gluing a low level loop, light color, those seams could show through. And so the tolerances are real, they're dead on. If you put a gap in that cushion, you could have the same issues with the telegraphing through. So you want to butt those seams tight. And if you're going to conventionally stretch it in, you can go ahead and use a vinyl cloth tape, a duct tape, to seal that seam. Product, and if there's any installers on the call, you know our product has no memory. It's easy to work with. You cut it, it lays flat, doesn't curl up on the edges. You want to fasten in the conventional stretch-in. All of our cushion, if you want to fasten it to the substrate, I don't recommend stapling it. You can create dimples in it, and if you got a lower profile carpet, it could show through. If you need to fasten it, in most cases you don't, because that rubber will grab that substrate. It doesn't really move. Use a pad adhesive. Don't use a lot, because again, if you use too much, it could pull that cushion down just a little bit so it doesn't slide around. Next slide. Installing the carpet to cushion. Here's where we're going to go with a permanent installation. The broadloom to the cushion is going to be installed with a multi-purpose adhesive, 8 by 8 by 16. And I have a rough square footage per gallon. I want to point out this is a minimum trowel size. We found that in most cases the broadloom has been installed for decades. 1/8 inch is plenty enough adhesive, but depending on the backing, different carpet mills, there's just a different type of products out there. You just want to make sure you get the right trowel. You want to pull the carpet back. Make sure there's complete transfer. As adhesive companies would call it, make sure the adhesive has legs. You know, it's grabbing to the substrate and the broadloom, and it's stringy, but it pulls out. And you just want to make the complete transfer is the most important. Excessive rolling. I've heard of cases where they'll bring a sheet vinyl roller in, 150 pounds or so, and then they're rolling this broadloom and cushion with 150 pounds. You do not want to do that. You want to try to keep around 50 pounds or less. You could disperse that adhesive. You could just blow it out, and then you're going to have pockets where there's no bonding. I've heard of some people using the core that our products rolled up in, getting down as like a rolling pin, and they say that works very well. Although over years, our cores have gotten a little bit thinner. It might have worked years ago. I'd still rather see a roller on it just to make sure you have a complete bond. As far as traffic not being allowed, the entire installation, 24 hours, I know how it works. You're going to have painters, drywallers, you're going to have everybody trying to work around you. The owner's going to get on it. Look, if you're walking across the installation, you should be fine. You just don't want heavy rolling wheel traffic, heavy foot traffic, and you've got to keep off it as long as you can. It's kind of important. Seams of the broadloom. This really should come from the carpet manufacturer. Again, they're going to have their guidelines. We prefer you to follow theirs, but it is listed in our Tred-MOR folder just to keep people pointing in the right directions. You want to use a carpet seam adhesive. It tells you what it does. It's going to join everything together. It's going to keep the seam from splitting, opening, the tough unraveling. I've seen a lot of beautiful installations, and just this simple last step kind of ruined it. You want to use a latex type sealer. Again, follow the carpet manufacturer's guidelines. Some will use a hot melt, just anything to seal it. The hot melt tape, we prefer not to tell people what to use because we are the cushion. What I could tell you to look for, and when you call the companies, usually when they find out it's a double stick, they're going to recommend a specific adhesive. They're going to tell you a specific tape, which is usually a wider tape, more like a 6-inch tape, and no silicone. If you get a silicone back tape, you might lose the bond between the broadloom and the cushion. So we recommend staying away from that. And it's kind of listed again in our sample vehicles. We'd be happy to walk you through it. But again, the carpet mill should set you up with everything. Polling question.
Okay, so what percentage of your broadloom business has shifted to carpet tile? Possible choices are 50% or less, 50 to 70%, or 70% and above. Go ahead and select where you think you're at. Do a few seconds here to make your selections.
My way came up. The survey. Wow.
Definitely looks like nobody is choosing 70% and above.
Huh.
Seconds here. Want a chance to get in there?
This makes me feel better.
It's very interesting, and it is indicative of what's happening in the flooring industry.
Okay, so I'm now displaying the live results. We have about 60% selected 50% or less, and 40% selected 50 to 70%.
Interesting. I thought it would be flip-flop as far as being higher percent. Interesting.
Go to the next slide.
Okay. Well, our next category, we're going to talk about the Tred-MOR carpet tile cushion modular PVI. Matt alluded earlier that, we have manufacturers, customers coming to us, asking us to develop products, and we have just as many manufacturers coming to us as we do customers. The reason we came out with a carpet tile cushion was for anti-fatigue, comfort. I mean, if you walk on carpet tile all day, it's a hard floor, and probably one of the most important reasons we developed it was for acoustics. The installation of modular PVI, it's identical to our Tred-MOR Legacy broadloom. You're going to be putting it in with a 16th by 32nd by 32nd inch net trowel. Pressure sensitive, you use, again, the same flat edge trowel, short nap roller. Spray adhesive. It doesn't take much to hold our cushion down. It's very stable. Again, if you want to release it in the future, you want to let that adhesive flash. Multi-purpose, again, it's not recommended, but we won't void a warranty if you do. Again, it's just going to make it a permanent installation. Like the Legacy, the product is packaged with the correct side facing down. You just open up the pack, you unroll it. But the seam's tight, just like our regular Tred-MOR. And if you need a seam tape, use the duct tape. And no gaps, and use duct tape for the seams. Installing carpet tile to cushion. So far, everything I've come across and the carpet tile manufacturer we've been dealing with, they use pressure sensitive. Every PVC back tile is going to use pressure sensitive, but everything I've been finding is usually a 16th by 16th by 16th inch notch trowel, or 32nd, 16 by 32nd by 32nd, but they all use the pressure sensitive. Nice thing about installing carpet tiles modular PVI, it's the same bucket, top and bottom. Mechanic can carry one bucket. Again, after the cushion's installed, go ahead and put the pressure sensitive down. The 16th by 16th by 16, it's more of our recommendation because the different carpet tile backings out there. There's a lot of synthetic fiber, bitumen, and it just seems like they demand a little bit more adhesive than a flat edge of a trowel. And if you put a 16th down, it's going to have something to grab. We did our office, and we had them bump up to a little bit heavier trowel. And not that the other part of it failed, it just seemed to be tighter and held down a little bit better with the adhesive using a 16th inch. Again, offset the seams. Avoid excessive rolling. I think the carpet tile, this is where the carpet cardboard tube that we use to roll the cushion up works really well. And again, you don't want to use anything real heavy because you don't want to disperse that adhesive with a heavier trowel. We have a single stick method. We kind of developed it with dBarrier, and we'll get into dBarrier later, but bottom line, the single stick method is like the double stick. You don't adhere the modular PVI to the substrate. You're going to open the roll it out, tape the seams, and you're going to go ahead and install the carpet tile to it. So essentially it's a floating system.
And by the way, just to interject, we've done this on multiple installations, and Joel's going to point out some of the reasoning that with the carpet tile in particular, or LVT, that gluing this underlayment product to the substrate, certainly is what you may typically want to do. But if there is an option, we found our single stick method to work quite well, and with virtually no transition or change in any way.
Yeah, profit's not a dirty word. I'd like to see everybody bid a double stick. I think it's a far superior installation, but if you get into budgets, and it seems like the finishing, the flooring, by the time they get to us, there's no money left. Start with a double stick. They can't afford to go to a single stick, and if you don't have heavy rolling wheel traffic, single stick is fine. And then if they have no money at all, then you just glue the carpet tile direct. But there is a value to this product as far as acoustics and comfort underfoot. The picture you're looking at now, carpet tile is stable. It's really come a long way. And when you combine it with our product, which is very stable, there's just no movement. You glue the two together, it's really heavy. What you're seeing in this picture is a 2x2 piece of modular PVI, and that's a roofing nail sticking up between it. Put this on a table, and I'm telling you, I can't lift it off the table. I even put it on a cloth with a cloth tablecloth, porous. I could eventually get it off, but it was a struggle. If you take a 2x2 piece of our product, put it on a flat surface, you can't pull it up. You can't lift it up. It's like a suction. So you get a heavy tile on top of that. There's no way for it to move. And I look at carpet tile. I've been a hard surface for probably 30 years. I look at carpet tile like a hybrid between broadloom and hard surface. It's very stable. Again, they're making it so much better today. And combined with our product, you have a really stable system. There's just no movement.
Well, the idea of actually trying to, the purpose of that nail, of course, is to actually be able to lift that cushion up off of the substrate. And in this case, it literally produces a vacuum around the nail. The nail, you'll get up about a ½ inch, and the product just will not budge because it's impervious. It's styrene, butadiene, rubber, and air won't transfer through, thereby creating a vacuum, thereby allowing you to offer a single stick option.
Go to our next slide. I'll show you where we did our office. And I apologize, it's a little sluggish here. We should switch over pretty soon. But we did our entire office, and I put some pictures here for a reason. This is a single stick method. We again, unrolled a cushion, glued the carpet tile to it, and I can tell you the mechanics love this. The speed of installation was awesome. But if you look at the size of these rooms on the left, on the far right, the big picture, from our front door to the back door in that hall, that's 118 feet. What jets off this hall is 13 rooms. These 13 rooms go through 36-inch doorways, and the hall is 4 foot wide. Each room is 150 feet. These are all connected. Go to the next slide. There's some more pictures. There's a cafeteria. There's a conference room. There's more halls. A copy machine. There's weight. The first picture I forgot to point out, heavy file cabinets. Bottom line, in our office, there's over 40 rooms, 3 hallways, all connected by 25 doorways, 36 inches wide, and none of this cushion is fastened to the substrate. The carpet tile is glued to it, and it's going through all these areas, small to big. Try to do that with a floating hard surface system. They'll be blown apart at the doorways. We've tested this for many years. The double stick method for carpet tile has been down a long time. We have installation firms have been doing it long before we said you could because they knew the product would perform. The single stick, we've been just doing it recently, and by doing field tests, the lab proved that it worked. The third-party lab proved it worked. Our field test absolutely showed it worked. We've got a poll question coming up.
Do you see an advantage in a single stick installation method? And here is the poll coming out to you. Clearly this is a yes or no question, so you've got a yes, a no, and a somewhat if you're somewhere in the middle. Give you a few seconds here to put in some answers, and we'll see where you think you're at. Okay, we got some.
These are interesting.
Witty, wrong word. Pretty quick agreement here that there is an advantage. We also have just a few in disagreement. Interesting.
Yeah, it's there are, as Joel pointed out, there are applications where this just may not be a viable option, but considering it strictly as an option, it certainly makes the product and the installation more versatile in terms of speed and time to complete a project. So it's a very interesting result in this poll.
We wanted to check too because we had a lot of feedback saying that if you try to pull a carpet tile off a cushion, it's going to tear it apart. And so we looked into that and we did some testing. And the plaques I made, I did it both a wet set and I did it, film, flash, let it dry. And I sat on these samples for about a year. I wanted to make sure that totally set up. And I have to admit, if I went into it wet, I could get part of it up, but it would take like quarter-sized chunks out of it. I went in one, I let it film flash. It wasn't totally dry. I had no problem releasing it, and when it's the pressure sensor was totally dry. You see these pictures. I'm starting to pull it up. This next picture on the right, I totally took that piece off. You can see the cushion isn't damaged. That was a year old. These plaques were a year old. The next slide, and that's a control. Some people are thinking that's control, but this next slide is our actual haul in our office. I replaced about 10 tiles. I went randomly just pulling tile up, and you can see the cushion wasn't ripped or destroyed. This particular, and all the tiles I pulled up, I didn't even have to use adhesive. It's pressure sensitive. It always remains tacky, as you know. I was pulling tile out and replacing new tile. We have an entrance going into the factory. I pulled up about 10 of them and put 10 new ones in about 5 minutes. So as far as worrying about tearing the cushion, don't. It does come out. And if you do tear the cushion out, just like an attached cushion, you just take the whole thing out. Take our cushion out all the way to the substrate, cut a piece in the fit, and drop a tile on it. I got 3 in my office right now that I would dare anyone to find that I took the cushion all the way out to the substrate. It's stable. You cut the piece, you put it back in, and you move on.
By the way, Joel is referring to a lot of activity here within our office, but our objectives and intent with this whole product and single stick method are not contained just to our office. These were easy pictures and descriptions to give today, but this method of installation has been used in a multitude of projects out in the marketplace, and we have zero complaints, returns, issues, ripples, anything. Zero. So I just want to emphasize that.
And we've been dealing with, again, a lot of manufacturers of the carpet tile cushion because even they see the value to it. Probably the biggest one, the biggest proponent, you'll find it in their installation instructions, they'll list Tred-MOR, is interface. We do a lot of work with them together across the country in hotels where they have sound issues. This little slide here just talks about a company that tested the cushion and basically says it outperforms anything. This came about with a pharmacy. The pharmacists are complaining about standing on their feet all day on carpet tile, and the cushion solved it. But again, it's endorsed by a lot of people. Like another polling question.
How much of your overall hard surface business is LVP or LVT? And here's the poll coming out to you. Similar to the first one, you've got 50% and above, 30 to 50%, and less than 30%. A few seconds here to your input.
On the trend.
We're either going one way or the other.
Yep. Depends what part of the world you're in, I guess.
Well, I would certainly say that I think it's forced a lot of dealers and distributors to really zero in on what products serve their region, serve their communities. But as we all know, this LVT segment, product segment, has just come on as I've seen nothing before come on. So we're definitely engaging in the luxury vinyl segment and very excited about the results of testing with our product and obviously real-world installations with our product that have very successful outcomes.
Which leads us into that question, led us into our third product category, Tred-MOR, is the dBarrier. Again, we were asked by our manufacturers, end users, slide slow and I apologize, but we came out with this for the request of our customers. But dBarrier was built for LVT, more like a double glue for, we do a lot of 2 mil vinyl. Can be used for the locking systems. We use it under WPC cores with cork. You can float it, laminate, engineer hardwood, single stick, and double stick. You want to use the single stick, anything without a locking system, but you want to create a floating system. So you loose lay the product and adhere the flooring to it, and then your double stick, of course, that's more for commercial applications. Again, all of this product is extra heavy commercial. It's been tested by several vinyl manufacturers, and they came back extra heavy commercial. And again, it's the benchmark which all those are going to be measured in the future. Next slide. There we go. Installing the cushion to the substrate. Again, it's just a thinner, denser version of Tred-MOR. It's going to be installed the same. A 16th by 32nd. The same installation method of what we talked about in the other product categories. Tred-MOR all gets installed the same way. Pretty simple. Single stick and floating. You want to tape the seams with a 2-inch clear aggressive packing tape. You might be gluing a 2 mil vinyl down, so you can't use maybe a duct tape because it might telegraph through. We found this works. It adheres, it stays, and it won't telegraph through. And of course, if you're double gluing, you really don't need to tape the seam. Again, you want to run it perpendicular if you can. Vinyl to the cushion. Most manufacturers of vinyl, I've been finding they recommend a 16th by 32nd by 32nd. Like the other products, once you get our cushion installed, we like you to follow the vinyl carpet flooring manufacturer's guidelines to installing to our cushion. They know who Tred-MOR is. We've been dealing with the adhesive companies for, again, decades. We're recognized by them, and they won't have special adhesives for rubber. They'll just tell you which direction to go, what to use on it, and the trowel size. Again, trowel size can be dictated how porous it is. You want a releasable installation, again, it has to, cure to get that product up down the road. And again, if you put dBarrier down with multi-purpose, it's just going to be a barrier to take out. It won't void any warranties. This is I wanted to show you a little, again, our third-party validation is real important. We do our own testing, but we have a lot of other people testing our product. This is from a major vinyl manufacturer, and I just want to point this out to you. And it's okay to toot our own horn because we do make a great product. They've tested it, they've endorsed it, and they plan on using it. So I just want to show you that the product is out there, it's available, and it's highly successful. I'm going to go through this real quick. Like everyone else, we like people to do moisture testing. Moisture doesn't really affect our product, but you still want to do the relative humidity test. That's where they go 40% into the slab. And to back up, I've been on a lot of webinars, FCICA, with moisture. And I tell you, the guys and gals did an outstanding job, and they taught me more in probably 6 months than I've learned my whole lifetime. So if they ever have one down the road, I highly suggest getting on it. And I do follow their lead, and I will follow the carpet, vinyl manufacturers, and adhesive companies' lead on moisture because it's real important. You want to check that relative humidity, the pH levels, your alkaline salts, and hot spots where that adhesive will release. Calcium chloride, it's a tried and true test, but it's more topical. It's not as good as test as the relative humidity test. The breathable moisture barrier, I want to talk about that real quick because we see a lot of that out there. Everyone's a breathable moisture barrier. Water has 3 forms. Solid is ice, liquid, and in gas, a vapor. Usually the liquid is what the underlayments can control, and some will maybe control the vapor. I found this online because it kind of described, I kind of use the term loosely too as moisture barrier versus a vapor barrier. And I found this and I thought it was really good. I know the difference, but I don't use it like I should. But a moisture barrier, it describes a material that will block water in its liquid form, whether it's coming from below or above. The liquid won't penetrate it. So a lot of underlayments in the industry are moisture barriers. A vapor barrier is a product that's going to stop liquid and vapor coming through the substrate from below. Vapor barrier would be like a 6 or an 8 mil polyethylene film. If you look at laminate and hardwood manufacturers, for example, for a moisture barrier or vapor barrier, they recommend a 6 to 8 mil poly film. That usually goes beneath the slab. The vapor barrier should be below the slab. Vapor barrier on an underlayment, all it's going to do is protect the floor. It's not going to correct the slab. You're still going to have that vapor transmission. Here's what I call a moisture barrier, a breathable moisture barrier. We've had a product called Stain Stop. It's been on our product forever, and it's pretty much just the way our product's built. It's inherently, just naturally inherited in our product, just the way it's closed cell vulcanization process. Bottom line, the cup on the right, it's full of water, but you can't see it. So I took a picture of the cup on the left with dye. This water on the right, we've had water sitting in it since August 1st of last year. And what that's telling you, it doesn't penetrate the underlayment. It'll evaporate. It'll turn to gas and go up. It'll evaporate. It won't penetrate the cushion.
Yeah, just to add to that, this picture, just to make sure everyone understands what's being depicted here, the bottom of really what this is a PVC, almost like a plumbing product or a plumbing pipe of straight PVC. We cut the bottom off, and that is actually Gorilla glued the bottom to the cushion, and it's filled with water. But I can tell you that, this is a 2-inch diameter PVC pipe, but at our display at NeoCon in 2018, this past year, we actually had a 3-gallon cylinder, clear cylinder, connected to the top of our cushion. 3 gallons of water, of H2O, the molecular structure of H2O, sitting for 5 days. There was exactly 0 water that penetrated through the top of our cushion. And that's what Joel was referring to, is the fact that our cushion is impervious. It's impervious to water. Water is H2O, the molecular structure of water. When water becomes a gas or a vapor, that's a different story. So I just want to emphasize that that this is truly going to stop moisture from soaking through the subfloor from a topical moisture. That was the biggest point I wanted to clarify here.
Yeah, which is ideal if you're doing, going back to modular PVI and you're doing carpet tile and you're going to single glue it. You can roll it in, put the carpet tile in, you could flood it with water, it won't penetrate to that substrate. No foreign matter will get to it.
One contiguous surface under all those carpet tile seams.
Right. And but most moisture barriers, again, from below, the job of an underlayment is to protect the floor above it. So when you buy a moisture barrier / vapor barrier where they have a 6 mil or some similar product attached to that underlayment, you need to know it doesn't crack the substrate. It just protects the floor above it. So you could run into issues where, yeah, it's stopping, it's protecting the floor, but then you can have high moisture content between that and the substrate causing mold and mildew. I'm a real fan of fixing the substrate. I really am. Again, I said earlier, moisture doesn't affect our product. What it affects is the adhesive. You know, either the cushion to the substrate or the floor to our cushion, because vapor can come through it. It affects the adhesive in the carpet backing. If you get a high moisture content. Again, you want to follow their guidelines and their maximums for any kind of moisture reading. We do create a breathable moisture barrier, and that's why we really don't have a lot of moisture issues with broadloom and any cushion, even ours, because if it does, say the water table rises, traditionally a slab that's dry, you get monsoon season, the water table rises, a product will hold it back until that water table drops, and then the moisture will be reabsorbed into the substrate. So there's no failures. You take that same substrate that hasn't had a problem in 60 years, and you throw a vinyl on top of it that's a non-porous, waterproof floor, you just encapsulated that system. So you have a substrate with no issues because you had a breathable system, and you're putting in something that'll encapsulate it. That's why it's real important to check for moisture. Let me go to the next slide. That's why we list in our Tred-MOR folders ambient temperature, relative humidity is 75, 3 pounds per thousand for 24 hours, pH levels. That's on a lot of the carpet mills guidelines. We're just mimicking them. If you have a carpet broadloom company or anybody out there that can take up to 99, or we'll follow them. We're doing, again, it's a bonding. It's usually a bonding issue. The adhesives today, they're going to go up to 99% RH. I mean, we're one part of a complete system, and the system is only strong as its weakest link. And as far as the adhesives today that can handle 99%, it doesn't mean. It just means it can live in that environment. It just, it's not going to stop the moisture. It's just going to, bond the system together. So you got to be careful with the 99%. I'm a little still there on that, and the jury's out on that. But again, we're one part of a complete system, and we're not the weakest link for sure. We'll get to our next slide here. And here we go. All adhesives that are compatible with Tred-MOR. I haven't found a product out there that doesn't adhere to our product. I know we have a lot of people want us to recommend a specific adhesive and manufacturer. We personally would rather stay away from that. We'd rather have them pick out what they want to use. We offer the 800 numbers, and they give them a call. What we do prefer and demand is the pressure sensitive and multi-purpose. We want a commercial grade, premium grade product. We don't want the economy stuff you can buy off the shelf. There's not enough solids in it. It has tends to crystallize, and again, you're going to have bonding issues. And then considering your adhesive, you want a releasable permanent insulation? How porous is the floor of the substrate? Carpet backings, you know, there's different backings out there. What trowel site? Again, they're all going to relate. That carpet manufacturer or flooring manufacturer is going to tell you what they prefer to use. Again, they're familiar with our product. Another reason we don't like to recommend is if recommended adhesive and somebody in that geographic area of the United States has no access to that or doesn't have distribution, it kind of puts them in a trick bag. Not only that, most of our flooring contractors stock premium grade adhesives. I want you to turn your inventory, you know, force you to buy a product to put my cushion down when you have pallets of a good adhesive in your back room is not fair. You need to sell your product and turn that inventory. And again, I can't reiterate enough, you've got to follow the carpet manufacturer, flooring manufacturer's guidelines for installation.
Yeah, so, you know, for the most part, guys, this really, guys and ladies, this really kind of wraps it up. I'm very grateful to Joel. We've gotten very focused on the technical aspects of our product. But the bottom line is we're only as good as the technicians, the people selling these products have the knowledge to sell our product and the technical details. And we're very keyed in to all of you as our partners. We are available, accessible. We've got 22 people throughout the country that are within a variety of regions, wherever you might reside or your business might be or a project might be. I encourage you to please contact us. We've connected with CFI, with FCICA, the AIA, you know, the IIDA. We are part of virtually every program that works with specification. And, you know, again, we're here to technically support the installation of this product. And we spend a lot of time out on job sites. So just wanted to thank the great installers and the dealers and the distributors that carry our product. And like I said, we're available for anything that you might need here in the future.
As you can see, too, the CFI and the FCICA will be on all of our roll labels, including all of our sample vehicles, to show support to our partners. Like Matt said, we can build the best product on the planet, but if we don't have the good mechanics, the artists that know how to put this in, it's just another Me Too product. So with that, I just want to offer thank you very much and answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. That was a fantastic presentation. If you have any questions, and I'm talking to the audience now, go ahead and type those in. We can take a few minutes here to answer that, but only a few minutes. They put so much awesome information in their presentation that they used up just almost all of our time, which is okay. I think it was very important to follow that content.
We'll do acoustics next time, Lizzie. I think we need to go in more into that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. We'll definitely work out a time for you guys to talk acoustics. So I do have a quick question here for you guys. Can dBarrier be used beneath VCT or sheet vinyl?
No. We've had the vinyl manufacturers check it out, and it's VCT. First off, VCT has a high cold flow. It's a droop or conformance. If you lay it off the side of a table, it'll droop. It's a very soft product. It doesn't rebound, and if you put an underlayment beneath it, it can make it worse on the point loads. And sheet vinyl is pretty much the same. I've also found that sheet vinyl kind of has a pretty high acoustic value on its own right, but we're worried about, again, the indentation. It's not like a vinyl plank. And the seams are an issue. You want to glue sheet vinyl direct, a felt backing, and when you put an underlayment, you might have seam separation.
That is currently the only question that we have here, and I don't see anybody else working on any. So let's go ahead and wrap it up just in time here for noon on the East time. Or not noon, sorry, 2 o'clock. I'm used to 11 a.m. webinars. So on behalf of FCICA, yeah, sorry about that. Thank you so much, Joel and Matt. This was an excellent presentation. I'm so glad that we were able to get you guys in to talk about Tred-MOR. For everyone else out there, this webinar's recording and handouts will be available on our Member Center and on this education platform. Don't forget, we will be doing a walkthrough of that platform on November 15th, so if you're interested in learning more, go ahead and check that out. And certified installation managers who attended this webinar live, you most likely will be asked to submit a feedback survey to receive your credit, so make sure you get that done. And if you watch the recording, you'll also be asked to do that as well. If you're looking for other continuing education opportunities, you can access previous webinars by navigating to the courses section on the platform and clicking the On Demand button. And you can also visit our new training resources page for offerings from manufacturers and other FCICA partners. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed this webinar like I did, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Lizzie.